Nebraska is not back, but are they close? Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by. Best discussion, debate, and analysis. Please like and subscribe. All right, let's look at the Huskers for 2025, but first let's consider what Matt Rhule has accomplished, or has he accomplished much through 2 seasons? We know that magic has ensued in year number 3 under Matt Rhule. That has been the rule under Matt in his tenure at both Temple and with Baylor. Year 3, breakthrough. All right, what's Nebraska got? Well, looking back at 2024, progress. Definitely a first bowl appearance in forever. They had the biggest bowl drought in the nation, inexplicably. Also a bowl win, which culminated a season with a winning record for the first time since Mike Riley's second to last season in Lincoln. There were also some impressive showings. Consider that Illinois turned out to be a really good football team. We didn't know it at the time, but Nebraska took them to overtime, and the Illini finished at 10-3. The Ohio State effort going to Columbus against the eventual national champions, outplaying the Buckeyes and just losing 21-17. A win against a Colorado team with arguably the 2 best players in the country, a 9-4 Colorado team, and giving them a butt kicking. However, downside, still the bugaboo of losing excruciating 1-score games. 4 of them in 2024. Best win, not impressive. Was it Boston College? Was it Rutgers? And then there was that Indiana debacle, losing to the Hoosiers by 7 points. No, 7 touchdowns. All right, let's move on to 2025. Dylan Raiola's got to be better. 13 touchdowns, 11 picks. And before Dana Holgorsen got a hold of him late in the season, he went through a stretch of 2 touchdowns and 8 picks. This is in 2024, not 1974. So that is a crushing, excruciating stat line of TD to pick ratio that a team cannot survive and compete in one of the best conferences in college football. All right, he was a true freshman, and he got better. And again, we mentioned Holgorsen, former West Virginia and Houston head coach, brought in to be the offensive coordinator. Holgorsen came in late in the season, had 2 weeks to learn the offense, revamp the offense to a certain extent, make some tweaks, but more than that, really call the plays and really challenge the players and let them know this is not acceptable. And under Holgorsen, Dylan Raiola improved markedly, not substantially, but decisively. We saw only 1 interception in the final 3 games and a 65% completion percentage after going through that awful drought. So while Dylan Raiola is the most important player, maybe Dana Holgorsen is the most important addition, start to finish, for this season of Nebraska football. The backups to Raiola, well, as long as he stays healthy, they're not worth mentioning. But we will mention because quarterbacks do get hurt. Marcus Davila and Jalen Gramstad, hopefully they won't see the field in meaningful minutes against good opponents, and it's Dylan Raiola's show. Okay, again, Holgorsen, great offensive mind, also in your face. He will tell people what they don't want to hear to improve this football team. At the running back position, there needs to be improvement because there's not much here that we can go on. Emmett Johnson had a fine season, 598 yards, 5.1 yards per carry, and a touchdown, but after that, no more production. Names are out there like Quentin Ives, Mekhi Nelson, Kenneth Williams, also a couple true freshmen that are highly thought of in Connor Booth and Jamorian Parker. However, again, the running back position is a total mystery and an unknown, and we got to say a sketchy situation at running back for Nebraska behind an offensive line that should be about the same as it was last year, I would think. Rocco Spindler's a key addition from Notre Dame. Also Elijah Pritchett from Bama. This team brings back 7 offensive linemen that have at least 9 starts in college football, a total of 131 starts. But they got to stay healthier than they did in 2022, 3 and 4. Justin Evans is a key contributor and replacement for Ben Scott at center, and also the loss of Bryce Benhart is going to hurt this one. He's going to definitely be missed. Okay, wide receiver losses are substantial as well. Jamal Banks, Isaiah Nair, Thomas Fidone, the tight end, they combined for 114 catches. Bring in Dane Key from Kentucky. has always impressed me. 126 career receptions. We've got Neziah Hunter coming in from Cal. He caught 55 last year. And Ja'Cory Barney, he led Nebraska in catches, 55. Just 447 yards, a lot of underneath routes. 0 touchdowns for Barney. Needs to find the end zone. The tight end position, familiar name here, in one Heinrich Harburg. And so we mentioned the backup quarterbacks and the lack of experience, and maybe Harburg gets the call if needed, because obviously he has run the offense and he can run. All right, let's look at the Nebraska defense, because the offense is not going to be explosive. It's not going to be a really good offense. At best, Raiola gets much better. The offensive line does its job, and they have marginal skill position players at wide receiver, and they're a decent offense. The defense is going to be what's needed here, and not a good sign that defensive coordinator Tony White, who squeezed about as much out of this personnel and talent as possible in leading them to top 20 finishes on defense, he's off to Florida State, and he took the defensive line coach with him, Terrence Knighton, replaced now by John Butler, who has NFL experience. Defensive line for this team was a strength in 2024, but it's going to be difficult to replace these guys because the cupboard's bare for the most part. Depth pieces are the guys that are going to be expected to step up and be impact guys, like Riley Van Poppel, Keona Davis. They're homegrown Nebraska players that it's their time to shine. At linebacker, Vincent Shavers is a good player. Dason McCullough from Indiana, explosive player who should be able to make some plays and fortify the defense. Cornerback Sierra Wright is one of the best in the Big Ten, 39 tackles, 2 interceptions. Andrew Marshall comes in from Idaho. The safety, Deshaun Singleton, 71 tackles as the leader coming back. All right, special teams. The play has almost been like Scott Frost never left. And this has always been a bugaboo for Nebraska under the Scott Frost regime, was the special teams, the details, the attention to detail, techniques, fundamentals, awful. Worst in the nation year to year. And consider, in this day and age, to have 4 punts blocked and 2 field goals blocked is pretty bad. And some snap issues again for Nebraska, this time in special teams. The field goal kicker's not great, but you got John Hull coming back 10 of 15, and Tristan Alvano hit on 3 of 4. Call the schedule manageable. There's an opening date against Cincinnati. Where are Cincinnati and Nebraska playing? Kansas City, of course. Where else would they play? Well, they were supposed to play in Indianapolis as a Cincinnati home game, and I believe that the Huskers will be wearing the road white. They're technically the road team, but make no mistake about it, Arrowhead is going to be Lincoln Memorial Stadium South. So that's a win. It has to be a win. Nebraska's only about a touchdown favorite according to Vegas in the offseason. I would expect that line to move northward, but still not a substantial favorite against the Bearcats, a team coming off a 4-8 or 5-7 season. A Big 12 team technically, but just a couple years removed from Group of 5 play. So Nebraska, a much better roster than Cincinnati, need to win that game and need to be 3-0 when they host Michigan. Then we look down into the heart of the Big Ten schedule and we see no daunting stretches await the Huskers. A ton of 50-50 games, and Matt Rule needs to make this a priority. That's home turf. Protect it. Of course, Nebraska is famed for having the longest sellout streak in college football. Dates back to, 1968? Matt Rule is only 4-5 in Big Ten games at home. That has to change first and foremost. No Ohio State or Oregon on the schedule, but the closing run is key. At Penn State, and also that Iowa team that Nebraska can never beat. They always lose late, 13-10 in 2024. That's a recurring theme that Iowa makes the plays in the fourth quarter. Nebraska folds. Iowa has won 9 of 10 against GBR. Add it all together, I like Nebraska to go 5-4 in the Big Ten, sweep the non-conference play, 8-4. Is that a breakthrough? I think not, but it's much better than going 6-6, and then of course the losing seasons preceding that. So Nebraska takes another step under Matt Rule, although it's not quite the Matt Rule magic of year 3 at Baylor or Temple. Your thoughts, your questions, and so forth down below. Please keep in mind that we've got a Nebraska channel with great shows on Tuesday and Thursday night here at the Voice of College Football. So check out the Huskers channel. We will leave that link down in the comments section, as well as our daily show, the College Football Show, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Join the chat, talk trash about college football, and give me a call as well. See you next time.